She bowed her head slightly, hesitantly speaking. We must stop that child. Marissa fixed a sharp gaze on Estio, sternly saying, Tell me everything you saw. A moment later, Estio's group finally departed in their carriage, disappearing into the distance. Baker, his face pale and his spirit shaken, exclaimed, In the end, did it really have to come to this? Mubin crossed his arms, calmly replying, We had no other choice. Where Her Highness herself pleaded with tears in her eyes. Parker, sweating profusely, anxiously said, Even so, I thought that request had been rescinded. I never expected that we would have to personally come to the territory of the Delphia family like this. Not long after, they arrived at the magnificent and imposing mansion of a prestigious family. Authority. A handsome, elegant gentleman bowed his head in greeting. Greetings, Platinum L. Delphia. It's an honor to meet Her Royal Highness, the Crown Princess. Marissa returned the greeting with equal formality. It's been a while, Duke. Duke Delphia gave a warm and welcoming smile to his esteemed guest. I prepared a bath for you. Please relax for a bit. Marissa happily accepted. Thank you. After Marissa and her handmaid left, Exion's expression suddenly changed, revealing clear disgust as he said, Now that that's taken care of. He crossed his arms, his sharp gaze scrutinizing Mabian. Someone from the Haiga clan shouldn't have any involvement with Her Highness. What are you doing here? Mabian masked his inner discomfort, forcing a polite smile. Good heavens, sir, how can you utter such words? We still carry the royal bloodline, the blood of the princess. Shin scoffed, a sardonic smile full of contempt. How ludicrous. If you truly revered the royal family as you claim, then the current situation wouldn't be so dire. Mu Bayan remained calm, facing his sharp words with a serene smile. How very proper, and, oh my, but elder, Her Highness must have a valid reason to personally set foot in Delphian territory. Wouldn't you agree? Could you enlighten us as to the reason? Mu Bayan's words were sharp as a knife, leaving Shin speechless, choked with anger. As sharp and eloquent as ever. I see. Mu Bayan let out a hearty laugh. Why, thank you for the compliment. Ha ha ha, you're welcome. The smile on Shin's lips faded, resentment for this man brewing inside him. He still maintains that fake courteous facade. Truly, with a forced smile, Cainus said to Mabian, At the very least, I must express my admiration for you, for surviving the Emperor's deadly game. The Duchess paused for a moment, then continued, her voice hardening, a warning lacing her words for Mabian. But I'll say no more than that. Even artificial intelligence can recognize that you are, currently, prowling around my territory like a wild beast. She paused briefly, then continued. I expect that within my territory, you will maintain some semblance of humanity. Kaina made her intentions clear, then turned and said, My servants will escort you to your guest rooms. After you've rested, please join me in the dining hall. It has been meticulously prepared to welcome esteemed guests. In the dining hall, a lavish feast was laid out upon the table. Stio and Marissa silently observed the dishes before them, hesitant to pick up their utensils. Seated at the head of the table, Exion hesitantly posed a probing question to these commoners. Before he could finish, Marissa understood his intent and quickly answered him. They're my subordinates. You needn't concern yourself with them. Her words stunned Exion, leaving him feeling it inappropriate to inquire further. I understand, Your Highness. Soon after, they quickly joined the feast. Bottles of fine red wine were brought out to be enjoyed. A strangely quiet atmosphere settled over everyone. Everyone was silent, focused on savoring the food on the table. After the tense meal, Marissa set her cutlery down and spoke, bringing up the Delvia formula. She got straight to the point. I came here to return your heart. Exion feigned confusion, asking her in return, My heart? What do you mean? Marissa gave him a stern warning. We're not in a suitable setting to discuss this. Don't pretend you don't know. Marissa elegantly wiped her mouth with a napkin, then continued. I find I must ask this. To have a frank conversation, she sternly questioned, Is the master you serve an AI? Duke Delphi. Shin was sweating bullets at her question, his expression becoming even more awkward. Princess Marissa, why would you ask me such a thing, he stammered. Marissa lost her patience and urged, Answer me. Delphi, you're supporting the AI, aren't you? Shin remained silent, carefully considering his words. Suddenly, after a moment of contemplation, he stood up abruptly. He walked towards Marissa and respectfully knelt before her. I, Plana El Delphi, hereby declare that all descendants born into the Delphi family will only serve His Majesty the Emperor, from now until forevermore. Marissa didn't believe Shin's words. Raising her voice, lies. She sternly questioned him. If you're truly loyal to the Emperor, then who is audacious enough to even think about promoting girls aimed at the supreme throne? Shin, sweating profusely, quickly denied it. No one would dare commit such a treasonous act, Your Highness. Marissa clenched her fists, utterly enraged. Then why? With all due respect, I believe you understand the reason why I would choose him as my master. It is the sacred duty of a member of the royal family. He raised his head high, confidently asserting to Gil, Your Highness has proven your capabilities. Shin's words made Marissa tremble with rage. She stood up abruptly, shouting at him. The one chosen to inherit the throne is Gu, not Gil. Are you defying the Emperor's will? Shin remained calm in the face of her fury. I implore you, Princess, to reconsider. Your Highness, that is a choice that can be changed at any time. He raised an eyebrow, speaking with a suggestive tone. Crown Prince Kyle is plotting to eliminate all of his siblings. Upon inheriting the throne, Marissa gasped in horror. What? Please explain yourself. Prince Kyle, though still very young, he's determined to secure the throne for his own protection. Princess, Marissa said, her brow furrowed in determination. House Delphia pledges its unwavering loyalty to the Emperor under any circumstances. However, if we can contribute to the future of the royal family, Marissa continued, a hint of surprise in her voice. Please allow us to speak freely. Then, we pledge our full strength to support a leader willing to fight for the protection of our land. We've begged forgiveness for this insubordination. The information Shin revealed completely unnerved Marissa. Her face went pale, her expression filled with horror. Immediately, she turned and left, leaving Shin kneeling there. Before leaving, he quietly said to Stio's group, We'll return tomorrow. Outside the mansion, the rain continued to pour down. Dark clouds gathered ominously. In another room, Parker groaned in frustration. This is discouraging. We came all this way. He suddenly felt uneasy. I'm a little worried. What if something major happens because of this? Mabian remained calm despite the recent events. This isn't the first time. Internal conflict has arisen in the Empire's history. Frankly, I find it more surprising that the Empire has lasted this long. Parker disagreed and admonished. You're the one standing at the forefront to protect the Empire. How can you say such a thing? Mu Byong suddenly spoke up, asking him a question. Say, friend, have you ever had a dog? Parker, confused, replied, No, why? Mu Byong calmly explained. Dogs love the people who feed them, take care of them, look after them, and love them. Those are their masters. Parker hesitated, seemingly understanding, and exclaimed, I see. Mu Byong continued, making his point clear. Me too. I don't swing my sword to protect the country. What are you going to do now? If you keep neglecting Her Highness, the situation will become even more chaotic and unpredictable. Estio also pondered, his heart filled with worries and concerns. Nizu looked at him with a puzzled expression. Estio, flustered, blurted out, Honestly, right now, I really don't know how to proceed anymore. A moment of silence fell over the group, stunned by his blunt words. Ahuru, standing beside him, suddenly spoke up, offering a naive suggestion. Can't you just control all of them? The dukes, the princes, or any other AI? Ahuru bounced playfully on the table, continuing. Just order them to stop killing AIs, and the problem is solved. SJO replied to the boy, his tone laced with helplessness. My ability can't be maintained for that long. Unless I stay in the palace forever, it will be very difficult. Ahuru exclaimed in disappointment. Oh, really? Estio turned away, avoiding Ahuru's gaze, his heart heavy with worry. If I could, I really wouldn't want to use that power. He sighed internally. Could this be the reason why the Dragon Clan always kept their distance from humans? Ahuru proposed another option. What if we instigate the war ourselves? Niju disagreed, immediately refuting his suggestion. Absolutely not. Estio would be in danger. Ahuru wrung his hands, his face etched with worry. Then can we declare Mobian support for the fifth prince? If both dukes agree to support him, then even the emperor wouldn't be able to object. Mobian interrupted him. I'm sorry, Ahuru. I cannot openly oppose the emperor's will. It's too risky. Ahuru asked in astonishment. Why not? Delphia already did. Mobian gazed into the distance, slowly explaining. Our situation is different from Delphia's. Simply put, this concerns the fate of the people in the territory who helped us when our clan was on the verge of destruction. Haru understood, gently dispelling SDO's wandering thoughts. Come on, don't think about it anymore. A new day began. The rain had stopped, and warm sunlight poured in, coating the entire mansion in a glossy honey gold. Suki, the black cat, scratched lightly at the glass pane of a window. Meow. The person inside, hearing the sound, called out, Suki. SDO quickly opened the door for Suki to enter. Suki immediately reported on the mission to find the child's father. I found the father. You found him? SDO was a little surprised. Rin's father. His name is Isaac, Suki reported in detail. It seems they deliberately erased their tracks, so finding him was quite difficult. It took me quite a while to track him down. SDO asked in astonishment. Did you go looking for him yourself? Suki confirmed. Yes. There's a clue, suggesting he was taken to the 5th Prince's palace. He's currently in the capital. Kai suddenly saw Suki standing by the window and walked over. She gasped softly, as if she had figured something out. It seems like Black Tiger has gone to find Rant's father. SDO nodded, confirming Kai's suspicion. Yes. It looks like the 5th Prince's men have kidnapped him. Kai exclaimed in surprise. How could the guards ambush, track, and kidnap someone? Suki recalled the scene and recounted. There were a few other soldiers who also came from the same village as him. He continued, his face thoughtful. They didn't seem to be treated very well. They seemed to be secretly practicing something. I'm afraid you won't find him easily. Suddenly, SDO scooped Suki up into his arms. Thank you for the information, Suki. Then he held Suki close, gently instructing, next time, if you want to go out, let me know first. I was very worried about you. Feeling the warmth from SDO, Suki obediently replied, all right, I will. Parker also approached. Oh, Suki is back? He couldn't hide the excitement on his face. Niju flashed a bright smile, warmly welcoming Suki. Welcome back, Suki. It's such a relief to see you safe and sound. Ahuru has missed you terribly. Mabian gestured towards Ahuru, explaining. The cactus is currently fast asleep. Should I wake it up? Suki leaned her head wearily on SDO's shoulder, lazily replying. There's no need. We're about to depart. Moments later, in front of the magnificent mansion, Duke Delphi bowed respectfully to Marissa. Your Highness, Marissa. She was about to step into the carriage when she paused. Do you have something more to report, Duke Delphi? He placed a hand on his chest. Bowing slightly as he replied, the traitor dared to declare to her, you hold the key to victory in this battle. Your Highness. His words caused Marissa to let out an involuntary laugh. Her face was filled with indignation. How laughable. How could it be? Someone unable to sway the heart of a mere servant, utterly loyal to the Empire, possess such extraordinary power? Under her sharp gaze, quickly kneel and show your reverence. Your Highness Marissa, this may be a bit difficult, but please do not avoid this discussion. He replied resolutely, I will surely obey any decision made by the Crown Princess. Your Highness, for the future and glory of the Ruber-Raisin Empire, the carriage will depart from the residence immediately. Suddenly, they stopped at a certain location. The carriage halted before a magnificent, imposing building. Marissa walked amidst the respectful ranks of knights. That was close. I'm completely in the dark about this plot. This conspiracy against the Emperor. The girl furrowed her brows and thought. If the Crown Prince is planning to eliminate all the other successors, could it be that the Emperor is aware of this, but deliberately turning a blind eye? Marissa couldn't help but feel bewildered by the complicated situation. What am I supposed to do now? Suddenly, she turned back towards the teleportation gate. Everyone did a great job. We'll part ways here. Marissa looked at the people present. Thank you all for giving me courage. She gave a bright smile. If it weren't for all of you, I wouldn't have even considered visiting Duke Delphia. Stio respectfully bowed his head in return. Yes, I wish you a safe journey. She cheerfully bid them farewell. Yes, goodbye everyone. Before she could finish her sentence, Marissa's eyes widened in shock and disbelief. She sensed an unusual presence, filled with danger. Something whizzed past her face, narrowly missing her, sending a jolt of fear through her. A deafening explosion rocked the room, knocking Marissa to the ground in terror. The knights rushed forward, shielding her with their bodies, forming a protective wall. Protect her highness, they shouted in unison. Still reeling from the shock, Marissa looked towards the blinding light. What's happening? She gasped as a group of cloaked figures materialized. They surrounded her, radiating a menacing aura. Their leader was the one who had thrown the dangerous object. Regaining her composure, Marissa demanded, "Who are you? Reveal yourselves." A trembling voice spoke. "I am deeply concerned, Your Highness. They possess incredibly powerful magic." Marissa was stunned, her face filled with suspicion. "Are they after me?" she wondered. She quickly regained her composure and addressed the knights. "I'm all right. Focus on the battle at hand. We must capture at least one of them to interrogate and uncover the mastermind behind this." "Your orders are understood," the knights roared in unison, accepting the command without hesitation. Without a word, the knights once again raised their hands, summoning blinding orbs of light. A barrage of light orbs hurtled towards Marissa and her knights, forcing them to desperately defend and evade. Dust and smoke billowed, momentarily obscuring everyone's vision. As the smoke cleared, the black-cloaked figures had vanished without a trace. "Damn it, they got away," Marissa exclaimed in frustration. Marissa suddenly noticed SDO engaged in a fierce duel with a mysterious figure, and she was stunned. "SDO," Marissa whispered his name, worry flooding her as she recalled hearing that. SDO was not a trained warrior. Immediately, she ordered her knights to assist the young man. One of the masked figures yelled, "Damn it." He ran quickly, looking back to urge his companions on. "What are you doing? Hurry up." The person facing Geo stammered, my legs won't move." Through the thick smoke, Gio's sharp gaze pierced the mysterious figure. The masked man froze, looking at his comrade in confusion. "Your legs won't move? What nonsense are you talking about?" The other man angrily shouted, "I don't know." His comrade abandoned him, quickly making his escape. "Everyone retreat." The man's face paled, horrified as he recalled the moment he briefly locked eyes with him. In his hasty retreat, he suddenly stopped, his eyes turning towards the nearby SDO. Lost in a train of thought, he was abruptly jolted back to reality, where his two unconscious comrades were thrown down at his feet in a pathetic heap. Mabian, after tossing them down, muttered to himself, "Good heavens, catching them was as easy as pie." But sadly, one of them didn't make it. Nizu also eagerly dragged two others towards SDO, his face alight with excitement. "I caught these two." Parker quickly joined in, manhandling another one towards them as he said, "Here's another one. Mission accomplished." Witnessing all his companions captured, the remaining man, frozen in the middle of the room, became utterly panicked. He gritted his teeth, bursting out in frustration. "Kill me. Just kill me." SDO calmly ordered, "Sit down." An unseen force suddenly descended, forcing him to his knees. He clenched his jaw, his face filled with resentment. He was bewildered, confused by his body's strange reaction. SDO slowly approached, looking down at the man on the ground, and coldly ordered, "Drop your weapon immediately. Put your hands on your head." The man trembled all over, once again obediently following SDO's orders, raising his hands in surrender. His body seemed to no longer be under his own control. Marissa was sweating bullets at the astonishing power of SDO's group. Feeling so stunned, she was speechless. She stepped closer and spoke with gratitude. "Thanks to your help, we were able to easily apprehend this criminal. Thank you all so much." SDO replied, "But we haven't found the true mastermind behind this incident yet." Marissa looked around anxiously, agreeing, "That's right." She clutched her dress, her expression determined, lost in thought. "Now that things have come to this stage, I need their strength once again." Thinking that, she made a proposal. "Until we find the person behind this attempted ambush, I want to continue to employ you." Sayo asked, surprised, "Are you ordering us around based on your royal status? Are you using your royal authority to command us?" Marissa replied sternly, "No, I, Crown Princess Marissa Estroborzan Aconia, require your assistance. I humbly request your aid." She recalled the group from earlier, the Palagon Magic Guild, one of the most powerful guilds, a professional magic organization comprised solely of talented mages. Marissa also silently speculated about the mastermind behind the attack and who hired them to carry out this brutal assault. Crown Prince Gu. She fell silent, lamenting inwardly, unwilling to believe this harsh truth. But the Crown Prince seemed to truly desire the elimination of all other successors. A cold sweat broke out over her. She worried that this wasn't enough, that she still needed more concrete evidence. Soon after, the group arrived at Marissa's palace. Marissa gave the group detailed instructions and turned to leave. Everyone, please wait here. Mr. Gi looked up, admiring the magnificent and luxurious dome, and couldn't help but exclaim with emotion. Oh, are we back here again? He clenched his fists, his face full of excitement, and exclaimed, we must be the first members to be honored to set foot in the princess's royal garden. Hasn't your highness been here twice already? Kai spoke up, confirming his words. Exactly. Ma Bian couldn't help but feel doubtful and asked her, that's strange. I heard that the Znai's association has a close relationship with the royal family. Kai shrugged, looking reluctant. It's just a relationship, built on the exchange of documents. Suddenly, she remembered Leski's languid appearance. Come to think of it, I heard a rumor that Vice President Leski once had an audience with the Emperor. At the mention of him, Parker crossed his arms, his expression displeased. Most foreign affairs are handled directly by the Vice President. However, he's still a bit untrustworthy. Esther remained silent, not participating in their conversation. Kai turned his gaze towards him, probing, Stio. After this incident, the royal family owes our assembly a great debt. Are you subtly suggesting that Her Highness the Princess seek our help? Once more, she chimed in, offering a conjecture. Are you secretly preparing for the moment when Suana targets our assembly by resolving this power struggle? And you plan to use it as an excuse to protect the assembly? Sayo frankly replied, that's not my entire purpose. He clarified, supporting Her Highness is my genuine desire, although I do have other intentions. But it was all just a temporary gift for me, so you don't need to worry or blame yourself. Kai nodded slightly, a look of understanding in her eyes. If that was his wish, she would respect it. Deep down, she thought. Ever since she learned of Sio's true identity, she had seen him as a tool, a powerful weapon to use against Sahana. Suddenly, Kai fell silent. However, Sio was completely different from Sahana. He wasn't controlled by rage, and he possessed a wide range of genuine human emotions. A pang of guilt stabbed at her. Was her plan, dragging him into this dangerous vortex, truly justified? Meanwhile, Parker was strolling through the garden. He froze when he saw a familiar pot of flowers. It was the crystal flower. Mu Bian, curious, also approached, observing the flower pot. Isn't this the crystal flower that Songying has been looking for? Baek Gi suddenly realized something was different. Wait a minute. The flower's color had turned sickly green, emitting a gloomy aura that filled him with unease. But it looks a little weak, doesn't it? Nizu frowned, carefully observing the small flower pot before turning to ask question. I think it's fine. Still very healthy. Parker also looked towards the flower pot, his face a mixture of confusion and surprise. I must have been mistaken. The group suddenly fell silent, all eyes turning to Estio. Estio was bewildered by the intense stares directed at him. Suddenly understanding, he exclaimed, oh. Estio quickly approached, saying, let me see. Parker cheered. Thank you, Captain. Estio bent down, examining the small flower pot. His fingers gently brushed against a yellowed leaf. Ahuru asked worriedly, what's wrong? The crystal, is it really not okay? Do you mean it got sick after coming here? After a moment of examination, Estio replied, it's not sick, but as Parker said, it does look a bit lifeless. His gaze fell upon the wilting flowers. This flower, I'm afraid it will wither soon. Suddenly, Estio fell silent, lost in thought. Niju and Aru, listening to him, also wore melancholic expressions as they looked at the small flower pot. Myung, surprised by Parker's perceptiveness, blurted out, did you notice its life force fading? Parker turned his head and replied to Myung, just a vague feeling. I thought I was mistaken. A look of concern flickered across his face as he recalled Estio's words. I feel a little sad, even as it's withering away. It can't even express its pain. Myung quickly spoke up to comfort Parker, but its wish to return to its owner has already come true, so it must be very happy. Suddenly, the small flower pot spoke, objecting, I'm not happy. Estio, noticing the flower pot's words, turned to look at it intently. The small flower pot continued, its tone assertive. What living being would feel happy knowing they are about to die? It felt a sense of contentment, sighing peacefully. Even so, I can still return to my birthplace before I wither away. Therefore, I have no regrets. Then it turned toward Stio, expressing deep gratitude. Thank you. Stio. Mr. Gi noticed something unusual about the flower pot and asked, what's wrong? Did that flower just move? The door suddenly opened, interrupting their conversation. A maid entered, respectfully inviting them to the banquet. Her Highness the Princess invites you to the feast. The sunset painted the sky in hues of red. A lavish banquet with enticing dishes was laid out before them. The table was adorned with vibrant flowers, drawing gasps of admiration from everyone. Marissa, with a bright smile, warmly welcomed everyone to the feast. Welcome. I apologize for the inadequate preparations. Mubian gasped in astonishment at her words. Inadequate, Your Highness? All of this? What is the meaning of this? Marissa replied with a bright smile. I want to use it as a sincere token of gratitude. Suddenly, her voice softened, carrying a hint of wistfulness. Although after the recent request, I've come to understand the true desires of the royal family members, and it's completely different from what I imagined. Furthermore, the choice to become my subject, one of my loyal subjects in this time of need, is not an easy decision for anyone. It's a great responsibility and absolute trust. Marissa skillfully concealed her complex thoughts, offering a smile as radiant as the sun. I want to express my deepest gratitude through this grand feast. I hope you will all enjoy it to the fullest. They accepted her invitation, heading towards the already prepared banquet table. Parker rushed forward joyfully, bowing respectfully. I am deeply grateful, Your Highness. Mabian pondered, contemplating the noble princess before him. This woman, she's completely different from that timid prince. Mabian thought to himself. They quickly settled down, beginning to savor the exquisite, delicious dishes. Suddenly, Estio spoke up. Your Highness. Marissa's attention was immediately drawn, her eyes gleaming with curiosity. Do you have something to report to me? Suddenly, as if realizing something, she asked. Are we bothering you? We'll leave right away. Estio quickly refuted. That's not it. Marissa fell silent, lost in thought. She moved closer to Estio, seriously observing every subtle expression on his face. Why is that? She suddenly realized her blunder and awkwardly took a few steps back. I don't mean there's anything wrong with it, but until now, you've only ever shown one kind of emotion, so I was just a little curious. I'm sorry. Did I make you uncomfortable? Estio bowed his head and replied no. He thought to himself, that's right. Those who can't hear the hearts of others have to guess at their feelings by the expressions on my face. It would be odd if I always kept the same expression. They both suddenly felt awkward. Neither of them said another word. To dispel the awkward atmosphere, Marissa raised her glass, a bright smile blooming on her face as she introduced the special drink in her hand. Please try some. I used the finest petals to celebrate our victory. She generously took a large sip. The others quickly took a sip themselves. Mabian was stunned by the taste of the wine. Filled with astonishment, he curiously asked, I have tasted countless fine wines, but this is the first time I have tasted such a wonderful flavor. Marissa openly shared the method of brewing this special wine. The main ingredient for this exquisite wine is the nectar of the legendary Tantalus flower, a rare species that blooms only once every 15 years. It's also known as the famed golden blossom, due to its brilliant, gold-like hue. Hearing the flower's name, Sister let out a gasp of awe. Oh, what a noble and elegant name. Marissa gently swirled the wine in her glass, knowingly added, Tantalus nectar has been used in winemaking since ancient times. Legend has it that, if one has the fortune to taste wine distilled from Tantalus nectar, they will feel as if they hold the heavens and earth in their hands. She suddenly added a playful jest. Because they say the aroma of the Tantalus flower is like a captivating aphrodisiac, capable of bewitching even the fiercest dragons. She seemed amused by her own story. What an intriguing tale, isn't it? But her story made. Mubayan jumped, startled, so shocked that he spat out the sip of wine he'd just taken. Puffed. His horrified expression worried Marissa, and she quickly turned to Han. Formula 2GA. Sir, are you all right? Mubayan's face is covered in sweat. He stammered, forcing out each word. Did you just say this is medicine? Marissa burst out laughing. Are you surprised by that? Don't worry, my friend. I'm completely harmless to humans. Marissa conjured up the image of a majestic dragon, soaring among breathtakingly beautiful flowers. She enthusiastically described this magical flower. Actually, it said that its scent has an irresistible allure for dragons, because dragons vanished from the world long ago. This is a pitiful flower, with no target left to enchant. Mu Bayan became even more bewildered, thinking to himself, what does she mean? Meanwhile, SDO calmly lifted his glass, about to take a sip. SDO quietly sipped his drink, seemingly oblivious to the surrounding chatter. Suddenly, Suki approached, catching his attention. SDO, she began in a Tagalog tone, SDO, you shouldn't drink any more of that. Marissa suddenly remembered something. Her eyes filled with concern as she turned to SDO. Oh, right, SDO. Didn't you have something you wanted to say? SDO stopped drinking and placed his glass on the table. Yes, he replied, his voice calm. I wanted to talk about the mystical crystal flower I gave you. It's starting to wither. Marissa gasped at SDO's words. Oh my goodness. It still looks so vibrant and full of life. How can you tell? SDO looked at the slowly fading flower pot and sighed softly. I'm afraid it will soon wilt completely, but that's the law of nature. Crystal flowers usually only live for a year. SDO's words brought a touch of melancholy to Marissa's heart. Flowers bloom, and flowers will also fade. A new life will take its place. And when spring arrives, another beautiful flower will bloom again. As if remembering something, she quickly explained herself. Its life was short, but incredibly vibrant. I didn't intentionally give you a flower of poor quality. Please don't misunderstand. SDO interrupted her, his voice recounting the story. That flower asked me to bring it back to you. Marissa paused, a puzzled look on her face. What? SDO looked at her and continued. It expressed its desire to be by your side in its final moments. Your Highness. Marissa was silent for a moment, then spoke with suspicion. Can you understand the thoughts of beings other than humans? Really? She looked at the child in amazement, questioning him. It wanted to return to me before it withered. Do plants have such feelings too? Stio answered her unspoken question. It's rare for a plant to allow others to understand its thoughts, or to express such strong emotions. He continued, explaining thoroughly. However, they can also recognize those who have cared for them and develop feelings similar to humans. Marissa trembled, stammering in astonishment. Impossible. Mu Bayan seemed to understand the emotions welling up inside Marissa, silently sighing. You said you loved plants because they couldn't speak, but now you've discovered they possess the ability to think, just like us. Marissa burst into tears, her heart filled with compassion for the small, wilting flower. If only we had known sooner. Marissa's words made Mu Bayan gasp inwardly. She abruptly stood up, panicked. We have to go see her right now, before the crystal flower completely withers. Can you help me understand her feelings, SDO? SDO was momentarily taken aback by the sudden request. Yes. The group quickly left the party and headed towards the flower garden. Only Nizu and Ahuru remained, standing in silence. Confused, Ahuru asked Nizu, what's wrong? Did you forget something? Nizu sniffed the air around him and exclaimed, I smell something strange. Unconcerned, Ahuru urged him. It's probably just some AI that farted. Forget it, and let's go. Nizu remained lost in thought, pondering the mysterious scent. It's like there's something. Suddenly, he jumped up and shouted in terror. That smell is coming from the garden. Marissa exclaimed, precious memories flooding back. The garden in the glass house. This glass house was a gift from the Emperor for my 5th birthday. At first, I was captivated by its sheer beauty, and as time flowed by, it gradually became my peaceful sanctuary, where I could find tranquility. Immersed among the blossoming flowers, my soul felt soothed and caressed. Her gaze shifted towards the nearby gardening tools, and before I knew it, cultivating and caring for plants became my endless passion. She glanced back at the vibrant, beautiful flowers. They thrive and bloom radiantly when I shower them with love. The more care they receive, the more exquisite and magnificent they become. Marissa gently cradled a small, fragile flower pot in her hands. I used to think that this was where the mark of care and nurturing was most clearly evident. She cheerfully shared her thoughts with those around her. That's why I always believed that our interaction was one-sided and that I had the responsibility to care for and protect them. I never considered that these tiny beings would also have feelings for me. Her cheeks flushed, she exclaimed with emotion. Looking back now, I realize how foolish I was. She gently pressed her cheek against the small flower pot in her hands, tenderly stroking it. I'm so glad you're back with me. I'll see you again next year. The little flower pot was so moved it was choked with emotion, about to speak when Marissa suddenly spoke, interrupting the surging emotions. Nizu came running at full speed, loudly warning everyone. I smell smoke. Something's burning. The group startled, turning their gazes towards him in unison. Nizu frantically yelled, "Fire! There's a fire!" Immediately after Nizu's alarm, the palace servants rushed out, quickly trying to deal with the situation. "Fire! There's a fire at the entrance to the flower garden. Put out the fire quickly." Parker cried out in worry. "If it's at the garden gate, weren't we just there a moment ago? I hope the fire isn't too big." Marissa, sweating profusely, added, "You're right, the garden gate is that very place." Mabian frowned, a look of concern crossing his face. He seemed troubled, a premonition telling him something was amiss. Everything seemed to be going wrong. Pushing aside his thoughts, he quickly warned everyone. "We have to get out of here now," he exclaimed. The group heeded Mobian's warning, running towards a blaze. From beyond the mysterious gate, a raging inferno burned, billowing black smoke into the sky. Fortunately, the fire hadn't spread beyond the gate. Suddenly, a tremendous explosion erupted from the heart of the fire, the shock wave blasting towards them. Mabian reacted swiftly, shielding Marissa with his body. Immediately after, Marissa anxiously checked on everyone. "Is everyone all right?" she cried out in alarm. Sensing the imminent danger, Mabian spoke to Marissa. "Your Highness, please stay behind me. It's too dangerous." The flames from the gate intensified, obscuring everyone's vision. Amidst the thick smoke, a surprise attack unfolds. Marissa's handmaiden emerges from the chaos, unharmed. Marissa breathes a sigh of relief, seeing her maid safe. "Banksia," she rushes over, worried. "Are you all right?" "Thank goodness. We must report to the Emperor immediately, before things get out of hand." Banksia interrupts Marissa, her voice filled with sadness. "I apologize. Princess Marissa." "What?" Marissa gasps. "Banksia, what are you doing?" The door slams shut behind Banksia. Marissa is stunned, calling out, "Wait, Banksia!" Mabian approaches, his face grave. "There's a traitor in the palace. I believe your Highness anticipated this possibility. Didn't you, your Highness?" Marissa bites her lip, anger simmering within. She turns, agreeing with Mabian. "You're right, Duke. The palace is now a battlefield, where danger lurks around every corner." Mabian grips his sword hilt, suggesting, "We need to abandon. Try to find a way out using conventional methods." "Your Highness, the barrier protecting this garden, how complex is it?" Marissa hesitated, her voice filled with uncertainty. "It's at the highest level, sir." Mubian swung his sword with a powerful blow towards the locked door, but the sturdy door remained firm against the might of the blade. Parker anxiously turned to Kai, asking, "Hey Kai, any luck? Is this giving you trouble too?" Kai wiped the sweat from his brow, his face tense, and explained, "My puppet is made entirely of wood." Mubian looked up, observing his surroundings. He couldn't help but feel anxious, thinking to himself, "This is a difficult situation. If I put more power into my attack, this entire structure will collapse." Suddenly, as if remembering something important, he paused, furrowing his brow in thought. He turned to Marissa and asked, "Your Highness, don't you need to water the plants here?" Suddenly, she remembered something and exclaimed, "Ah!" Marissa quickly replied, "There's a pond in the middle of the garden that supplies water. We can get water from there." They quickly moved towards the pond. "Hurry up." Moments later, they carried large buckets of water back. The fire was quickly extinguished. "That was close." The mechanic breathed a sigh of relief. "Can we get out now?" Marissa replied, "Yes. The entrance isn't protected by magic, so we can destroy it and escape." Mabian suddenly became tense and spoke up, cautioning her. "I agree with you, your Highness, but please look outside." Marissa quickly turned her head. "What do you mean?" Beyond that door, pools of blood marked the aftermath of a brutal battle. Marissa was speechless, stunned into silence. Mabian sighed in frustration. "This is the price we pay for blindly following the Emperor's orders." "Your Highness, Crown Princess." Hizio suddenly collapsed to his knees, his body trembling uncontrollably. Nizu rushed over to him, her voice filled with concern. "An, are you all right?" Suki couldn't hide her worry at his alarming state. "Hizio, you're sweating profusely. When did this start?" Hizio's face was drenched in sweat. He gasped for breath, his thoughts racing. "Why is my body burning up like this? Could it be that drink?" Mian noticed his distress and asked with concern, "Hizio, are you okay?" Hizio responded weakly, I don't know." Marissa noticed Mian's formal tone and thought to herself, "Come to think of it, Duke Haiga isn't a member of the guild. So, why is he using such humble language? Do you have any words for him?" Estio's face suddenly turned pale. He stammered, "Princess Marissa, the flower god has a message for you." Marissa asked in surprise. What did he say? Right now, suddenly, chaotic sounds erupted from the flower pot. "Greetings, dear human." Marissa, hearing the voices, Marissa gasped in astonishment. "Oh, why are there so many voices?" Leaves fell, each accompanied by a deep voice. "We know you well, Marissa." All the trees spoke in unison. "Though we have been slumbering for a long time, we have always heard Marissa's greetings." Marissa looked up at the surrounding trees and exclaimed with awe, Can you also hear the voices of other plants?" Estio replied, "Yes. Yes, these are the trees that have grown under Marissa's loving care. Now, they're making their voices heard." Estio's answer left Marissa even more astonished. Not only the crystal flower, but Estio was also blushing, his face strained with effort. "I try my best to do that, but now I can't control it anymore." The surrounding trees continued to speak, their voices echoing. "Marissa always talked to us, and now it's our turn to protect her. Don't worry, Marissa, everything will be all right." Kay noticed the outstretched branches, his voice filled with awe. The branches are growing longer and longer. Lush green leaves gradually covered the entire space, dispelling the stifling heat. The surrounding air became much cooler. Mubian quickly surveyed the surroundings. The fire outside has been extinguished. The chaos was gone. Beyond the door, the hurried footsteps of rescuing knights echoed. "Your Highness, are you all right?" They broke down the door and stormed inside. "We're here to rescue you." Marissa was overjoyed to see her people. "I'm fine." Suddenly, a piece of ash fell on her face. Huh? She looked up at the vast sky. Ashes. The charred trees vanished in a thin air one by one. Oh, they continued to comfort Marissa. "We will protect you, princess. Everything will be all right." Marissa sobbed at the noble sacrifice of the beautiful trees. "You bravely extinguished the raging fire. You were always by my side." Tears streamed down her cheeks, filled with immense sorrow. "Thank you so much." The small flower pot in her hand had also withered. Marissa, with tears in her eyes, cherished the small pot in her hands. "If only I could have understood your feelings sooner. Thank you for protecting me." The small, weak flower pot replied, "Me too, Marissa." The withered flower pot, no longer bound to the earthly realm, let out a faint whisper. "But I feel at peace, knowing I was by your side until the very end." Marissa looked at the small pot in her hands, her heart aching with sorrow. "I still haven't given you a name, even though I long to call you by one now." The flower pot trembled violently at the mention of a name. Marissa began to think of beautiful, meaningful names. "What do you think of the name Pearl, like the milky white gem?" She continued sadly, "So I can always remember you by that name." Suddenly, Kai approached Marissa and suggested, "We can save it." "Your Highness." Kai's words stunned Marissa. "Really? Are you sure? Although it will live on in a different form. Would you like to see it?" Marissa quickly nodded in agreement. "I would very much like to, thank you." The small flower pot in her hand trembled slightly, as if in agreement. In the days that followed, the entire palace staff paid a heavy price for their defiance. After the devastating fire, the harshest punishments were carried out. Following this horrific incident, the entire servant and security detail was completely replaced. Some faced the emperor's terrible wrath and were executed immediately. Yet, there seemed to be little interest in finding the true mastermind. Marissa felt a sense of unease as she recounted the events of the past few days. It implied they knew exactly who was behind everything. The emperor remained silent, meaning he was tacitly allowing the war of succession to rage among his own children. She frowned, her heart aching for the trees that had sacrificed themselves to protect her. Even plants knew who cared for them. Humans aren't much different. Marissa walked towards the window where the brilliant sunlight streamed in. A wise ruler listens to their people, governing with compassion. Everyone cares for, looks after one another, and cherishes the wise king devoted to his country and people. She somberly inquired about Estio's group's current situation. Is Ryubarazan such a nation? Estio understood Marissa's feelings and softly replied, "Princess Marissa." Marissa seemed to have made up her mind, turning back with a determined look. She declared her resolve aloud. "I will become emperor." Marissa's eyes held a plea as she looked towards Estio and his companions. "Will you stand by my side, Estio?" A while later, Estio's group left the palace. Marissa felt a pang of reluctance as she watched them leave. She approached the window silently watching the carriage disappear from view. It's a shame. They could have been of great use to me. A young girl approached, addressing Marissa. Why didn't you try to convince them more? Marissa replied, calmly explaining. They seem quite determined to leave. I don't want to force them to do anything against their will. Then her face brightened, her usual cheerful demeanor returned. Anyway, I still have so much I want to accomplish. Her gaze shifted towards a small, pretty girl standing nearby. Let's go, little knock tray, Pearl. The little girl beamed, replying to Marissa, yes, ma'am, as the carriage sped across the towering hills. Nizu's voice filled the air, laced with worry. Annoyed, Suki growled at him to be quiet. Nizu, feeling wronged, whined, I can't help but worry. Suki, exasperated, warned him, stop making a fuss about it, and what can you do about it anyway? Parker, sitting beside them, exclaimed in surprise at Suki's tone. Now, that's the real Suki, sharp as a razor. Mobian disagreed, coldly retorting, is the cat the only one allowed to talk? His face drained of color. His head swam, buzzing with a cacophony of sounds assaulting his ears. I feel like I'm going insane, forced to hear the chaotic thoughts of everyone around me. Mian glanced at SDO, the boy fading in and out of consciousness from exhaustion, and sighed inwardly. It seems his ability has spiraled out of control. It's all because of Nita's side effects. Suddenly, SDO let out a weary groan. Niju anxiously rushed to comfort him. We're almost there, almost to the capital's gate. Saul lifted his eyes, gazing out of the carriage. Do we have to get off here? Niju nodded in confirmation. They said we have to disembark and walk from here. Outside, the streets teemed with a bustling crowd. But to SDO's eyes, the lively scene appeared bleak and desolate. SDO wearily closed his eyes. Mian worried, thinking to himself, we should have taken the outer route, avoiding the crowded city center. Perhaps rendering him unconscious would have been a better option. Suddenly, Styo turned back to Niju. Niju, close your eyes. Don't look at anything. Guide me to the guild dormitory. Niju was bewildered by Styo's strange request. But why do you want me to close my eyes? Styo seriously explained his reasoning. I'm trying my best to avoid looking anyone in the eye. Please help me. I'm begging you. Despite Styo's explanation, Niju remained innocent and didn't fully understand. Just trust me, Niju. After a while, they finally arrived home. Their luxurious apartment came into view. Skyla greeted them with a bright smile. Welcome back. SDO leaned slightly on Niju, whispering to Parker as they walked. Parker, please report that the mission is complete. Sensing the situation, Parker quickly excused himself from Skyla. Upon seeing SDO, she greeted him cheerfully. Welcome back, Captain. She held a thick stack of documents in her arms. I need to talk to you about something. SDO's eyes remained closed, causing Skyla to wonder. Oh, what's wrong with your eyes? SDO didn't know how to explain, mumbling vaguely. Something like that. Skyla worriedly observed him. Let me see. Should I call a healer for you? SDO quickly declined her kind offer. No need. I don't need treatment. However, Skyla was still worried, gently advising, Captain, eyes are difficult to heal if they're injured. If you need anything, don't hesitate to tell me. Understanding her concern, SDO suggested, could you find me something to cover my eyes? Skyla immediately agreed. Sure, I'll be right back. A moment later, she returned with a bandage in hand. Will this do? SDO quickly shielded his eyes. Yes. Do you have something to tell me? Skyla, with her usual quick wit, immediately grasped the information she received. This is the report on the person you asked us to investigate. All the information on Isaac is in here. We've confirmed that he is currently residing in the capital. We're trying to gather more detailed information. She flipped through the pages, searching for something. Since you can't directly view the report, I'll pass it on to your teammate. Skyla held out a small piece of paper. Be careful with this. Kai, sweat beading on his forehead, gave a nervous smile as he took the paper. Esto ordered, stop searching for information there. Skyla understood, replying, understood. Next is additional information on Sahanet. Skyla paused, thinking about the grand and magnificent temple, then continued. A rumor is spreading like wildfire that Suena will soon take up residence at the Holy Temple. Skyla reported sternly, her voice unwavering. This morning, the current Pope, SCGKL, unexpectedly announced his abdication. The Holy Temple has begun making clear movements. The Holy Temple is taking action. Her words sent Kai into deep contemplation, lost in thought. It's strange, I thought Suena would eliminate the organizations in his way first. After delivering her full report, Skyla turned to leave. My report concludes here. We will provide you with further information via the transport team. When they arrive, STO nodded in understanding. Thank you for your hard work, Skyla. Parker returned after a short absence. He scratched his head, flashing a bright smile. I've completed the final step of the mission. It's fantastic that we were able to compile such a detailed report. Suddenly, he froze, suddenly stopping when he noticed everyone's unusual behavior. Parker looked at them in confusion. Why is everyone looking at me so strangely? Sweat beading on his brow, he offered a theory. It's like you've all seen a ghost. Mu Baiyan sighed, answering him. We're about to witness something far more terrifying than a ghost. Parker couldn't help but doubt. Worse than a ghost? Mu Baiyan glanced at Kai with a knowing look. Something truly dreadful, isn't it, Kai? Kai agreed. Yes, I'd rather see a ghost. Stio disagreed with them, worryingly thinking to himself, when will my powers stabilize again? He frowned, his face filled with discomfort. What am I going to do if this continues? Everyone's thoughts echoed, lingering in his mind. Mu Baiyan remained silent, his heart heavy with worry for Stio's current condition. Suddenly, he turned, offering STO a proposition. I will go and complete the rest of the mission. Regarding the search for the man named Isaac Kia, Mu Baiyan leaned in slightly, sincerely advising STO. Please rest until your abilities are fully restored. STO looked hesitant at Mu Baiyan's offer, objecting. I was asked to complete this mission personally. Mu Baiyan frowned, speaking sternly. I'm not an official member of the guild, STO. I am merely a guard assigned to protect you. Unable to persuade him, STO conceded. At least let me go with you. Kane stepped forward, speaking up. I will not participate in carrying out this request. I need to prepare a plan to deal with Suhanan. Return safely. STO understood, replying, all right. STO turned towards Suki, instructing. Then please guide us, Suki. He quickly acknowledged the order, responding with a sharp, yes, sir. Sometime later, in a dilapidated, crumbling building, a man was huddled, sitting listlessly in a dark corner, looking utterly pathetic. Piles of debris and refuse surrounding him emitted a pungent, nauseating stench. Right beside the man, another person lay motionless on a bed, covered by a thin, worn blanket that also reeked of a foul odor. Suki led STO's group to the front of this desolate dwelling. Mu Baiyan raised an eyebrow, his face etched with disbelief at the scene of decay before him. Is this really the place? The fifth prince had him taken, yet he's left to live in a place this wretched. Suki affirmed with unwavering certainty. I assure you, this is it. Mu Baiyan quickly stepped forward and knocked on the door. Is anyone in there? He knocked repeatedly, but no one came to answer. Mu Baiyan called out again. Hello? Is there anyone home? We're here on behalf of Rion. Hearing Rion's name, the person inside slowly opened the door, their face filled with suspicion. You mentioned Roll just now, didn't you? Mu Baiyan peered inside, describing the boy's appearance. Rule from Jiangbaying village, with bright red hair, about 10 years old. I'm here to find that child's cruel father. The man glanced over the Estro group and asked, You look like members of the guild, but why have you come all the way here? We're on assignment. Lead the way. They quickly followed the man's footsteps inside. The group approached a grimy curtain. Stio was guided in by Parker. He vaguely sensed a strong, foul odor in the air. The stench of blood and urine assaulted his nostrils. He asked suspiciously, Is this man still alive? Everyone's eyes turned towards a man, lying unconscious with severe wounds. The man leading them answered Stio, He's still alive, at least for now. Parker, seeing the countless wounds covering the man's body, he exclaimed in anguish, Good heavens, his injuries are too severe. We must get him help immediately. The injured man interrupted him, his voice weak. It's no use. It's not like I haven't seen death before. This isn't the first time I've seen a life fade away like this. He turned his head, glancing towards the elegantly dressed people. Don't forget, this place is nothing more than the Empire's dumping ground. Excuse me, everyone, I'll be waiting outside. When you're finished, just call me. As soon as the man was gone, Esther approached the bedside and asked, Are you Isaac, Riel's father? Isaac replied softly, his voice a faint whisper. Riel. He trembled as he asked about the boy. My son. How is he? Is he all right? Sensing Isaac's fading life force, STO thought to himself, He's not going to make it. We're too late. STO quickly reassured him. Isaac Rian is strong. You don't need to worry. Isaac breathed a sigh of relief, stammering his thanks. Thank you, truly, Rian. Suddenly, he coughed up a large mouthful of blood in agony. Estio sensed his time was running out and removed her veil, her eyes locking with his. Mr. Isaac, if you find it hard to speak, just think about what you want to say in your mind. She focused her mind to communicate with Isaac. What is your final message? Isaac was stunned by Estio's extraordinary ability. Tears welling in his eyes, his heart breaking, he thought, my son, Rion, tell him about my passing. If he asks, tell him how I died. He drifted into his memories, beginning to recount the details. I came here of my own free will, not by force. And until this very last moment, I have no regrets about my unwavering loyalty and dedication to Rubble Raisin. My only regret. He silently recalled Rule's bright smile, an overwhelming wave of sorrow washing over him, is not being able to return to my precious child. Isaac trembled, his eyes pleading with Stio. Please, tell him that I love him very much. The young man understood and silently nodded in agreement. I understand. I will make sure he knows. At the military barracks, a tear rolled down Isaac's cheek before he closed his eyes for the final time. He managed a faint whisper of gratitude. Thank you. His hand went limp, his soul departing from the world, journeying to a distant land. At that moment, Niju patiently waited in a hidden corner for Stio's group. Its large size prevented it from entering with them. Everyone around him stopped in their tracks, their eyes fixated on him.